Sekiro Shadows Die Twice is really great. It is my new favorite game of 2019. And I believe it is very, very close to being my favorite From Software game. I still think From Software's magnum opus is Bloodborne, which is a game that made me fall head over heels in love with it back in 2015. And that was actually my in to the Soulsborne series. And Sekiro, I feel, is a sort of different animal altogether, where yes, it does have some elements of the Souls games, but it is very much in the vein of something very different, where it's a lot more focused on stealth and trickery and using all the tools that you have at your disposal. And I love how this game almost encourages you to cheese a lot of the enemies, where it says flat out, use every trick at your disposal. And that also includes every dirty trick that you've got. And the game doesn't punish you for playing it unfair, for trying to break the rules of the game, trying to get out of combat to try to cheese opponents. And I love that. I think that's great, because that paves the way for a really fun, engaging combat system. And even though the game itself is hard as shit, and don't let anyone tell you otherwise, if someone says, oh, Sekiro is not that hard, no. Sekiro is a very, very challenging game. It's not for everyone, but for those who are willing to stick with it and will learn its rules and find ways to break them with a lot of the combat scenarios, you're gonna find that Sekiro is an immensely rewarding experience. And I also love that when it comes time for one of the story bosses, which are, I think there are at least like 3 or 4 story bosses in this game that rank among my all-time favorite bosses ever. I love that the game practically forces you to go, okay, playtime's over. Now you have to understand how this combat works. And you're left to go, okay. And get good is used in a very condescending way by a good number of people. Whenever people complain that they just can't get into the Soulsborne games or in Sekiro, you know, get good is always the big thing that pops up. But I feel get good used within Sekiro's context is almost like encouragement rather than condescension. Because when you get your ass kicked in this game, especially during the bosses, it practically forces you to rethink your strategy. It forces you to learn the boss's precise timing and its weaknesses, its hidden idiosyncrasies, where you can get a leg up, any kind of leg up on the boss. And there were multiple times during this game, especially during the story bosses, where I went, fuck this, this is impossible, this is stupid, I don't like this, I think this is going to be my end point in the game. But for whatever reason, the game just kept getting under my skin and making me want to play it. The reason this video is so late and so short is because all I really want to do is just keep playing Sekiro. Whenever I thought, oh, this would be my point where I'm going to record the video, nope, I'd keep going. And then there'd be another point where I'd go, alright, now it's time to record the video. Nope, I'd want to keep playing. It's a similar situation with Devil May Cry 5, where I just want to keep playing this game. I don't even want to be talking about it on the channel, because I just want you guys to go out and play it, because it's that damn good. And going back to what I was saying about the story bosses, once I learned the trick to beating, not the trick necessarily, but the pattern to beating certain bosses, once I learned what I had to do, I literally said out loud to myself, I got this. And maybe a couple tries later, I got it. And I won. And the a feeling of joy and pride that you get from beating one of these bosses that are tough as nails, that demand absolutely perfect precision and reflexes and skill, and you earn that victory, it feels incredible. You have earned that. You have earned that. That is yours. That is your victory. You put the hard work in and you won. You deserve every ounce of joy you get out of it. And very few games give you that kind of sense of pride and accomplishment. Yay, fuck off. And I love Sekiro for that. I think in some areas the difficulty can get a little bit bullshit, especially in the mini bosses. I'd say maybe about 90% of the difficulty is very well finely tuned, and the other 10% is tips the scales a little bit too much into difficulty for difficulty's sake. Another nitpick I have about the game that kind of prevents it from being better than Bloodborne is that I don't think most of the environments are as inspired as Bloodborne. When I go back and think of Bloodborne, a lot of the environments just immediately float to the top of my head. You know, like Castle Cainhurst and Old Town Yharnam and regular Yharnam and Mensis' Nightmare and the Nightmare Abyss, and it's just a lot of memories flood to my mind with the environments in that game, even with Dark Souls 3, where I think of, you know, Kessel Lothric and a lot of the other environments. In Sekiro, it's not really until the second half of the game where the environments kind of kick it up a notch with iconography and memorable environments and memorable atmosphere. And I just think the opening segments with the environment are at least is really not all that memorable. It's not all that inspired. Still looks good. It's just not Bloodborne good. So overall, Sekiro, like I said, is not a game for everybody. Okay? Sekiro is only for people that really can get with the game's rhythm, can get with the game's need for demand practically for precise timing and great reflexes and good, smart, strategic thinking. If that does not sound fun to you, then Sekiro is not for you. But for everyone else, that even for people that have never really given Dark Souls a chance, trust me when I say that this is almost an entirely different animal from Dark Souls, from combat-wise. And it plays to my sensibilities a lot more because I'm somebody who's much more offensive-based. I love the lethal nature of the combat. I love how violent and how action-packed it is, and how it encourages you to just keep pushing forward and to keep swinging and getting hits on these guys. And when you, especially when you land the killing blow on an enemy and that boom sound pops up and you stab the enemy through the neck or through the head, the feeling is just, you feel like the king of the fucking world at that point. So I love Sekiro. There you go. Short and sweet. Sekiro is my new favorite game of 2019. I love it. Not quite Bloodborne love. Almost there. Not quite. But I love Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. And I highly recommend you guys check it out. I think it's great. Thank you guys for watching. If you like to see, subscribe. Let me know what you think about Sekiro. And as always, have a good one, everyone. Bye.